How's it going, friends? Germany's conservative opposition party, Alternative für Deutschland, or AFD, has been polling second place nationwide in Germany for many months now. However, in the former country of East Germany, the DDR, they're polling first place. And that's even when you include Berlin in the mix, which is a very left-wing city. Well, Sunday, two of the states of the former DDR held state elections, Saxony and Thuringia or Thuringia. In Thuringia, they came in first place by a big margin. In Saxony, they almost tied the CDU for first place. So it's official now. They're the biggest party in the former DDR. Now, it's very significant that the first state where they come in first place is Thuringia. The party is led by Björn Höcke, who's one of the top guys in the AFD. He's one of my favorite politicians in Europe. And he's been with the AFD since the beginning, and he's played a huge role in shaping what the party is today. Now, the party was only founded in, I think, 2013, basically as a response to the CDU becoming so left-wing at the time, which now the CDU has gone way past that. They're even way down the spectrum than they even were in 2013. But back then, you had a lot of different people coming together, and they had different ideas about what should be the main focus of the party. Some of them didn't even want to talk about social issues. Some of them were more libertarian, and they just wanted to talk about economics. The party was close to Nigel Farage at the time. And over the years, you had a lot of infighting, and people would get mad and quit and start their own splinter group. All of these splinter groups have amounted to nothing. They've all died out now. The media always had its nastiest and most libelous vitriol towards Björn Höcke. Now, he started something within the party that was called Der Flügel, or the wing. He called this the national conservative wing of the AFD, and he advocated for things like family values, traditional gender roles, basically to have a strong focus on social conservatism, as well as opposing immigration. Even as recently as 2021, there was a major leader of the AFD, Jörg Meuthen, and he got mad and demanded that Höcke be kicked out of the party. Everyone else said no, and so he quit and tried to restart the Center Party, which was the traditional pro-Catholic party before World War II. Well, that went nowhere. He's gone now. At any rate, it seems like most of the rest of the party has all warmed up to Höcke now, and he's played a big role in shaping what the party is today. I made a video recently talking about where AFD voters come from. It's not like Austria, where you have the Conservative Freedom Party and the establishment center-right People's Party, and there's a big swing vote that they're fighting over, and one goes up and the other goes down. It's a completely different situation in Germany. The AFD is much newer, and the CDU has gone much further left than the Austrian People's Party. At least the national leadership of the CDU has gone way further than the Austrian People's Party. They are getting large numbers of young people voting for the first time. That's huge for the AFD. They also get large numbers of people who haven't voted in a long time, basically disillusioned people who stopped voting at all. And the rest of their voters are coming from all over the political spectrum. Previously, Der Spiegel has published these graphs showing where each party's voters came from, how they voted in the previous election, and the AFD just gets people from all across the spectrum. So it's not that they're taking CDU voters away. But I think part of the reason that the CDU has so much vitriol and hatred for the AFD is that they are getting so many young people, because the core demographic for the CDU now seems to be older people who have been voting for the CDU for decades, and they just keep voting out of force of habit, but they're not getting any young people anymore. Exit polls show that 37.5% of the 18 to 24-year-olds in Thuringia voted for the AFD. Now, they got 32.8% overall. But this is playing out all across Germany right now. The AFD is getting their highest percentages among the youngest demographics. Now, my understanding is Germany allowed 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in the EU election. Berlin and Hamburg have legalized 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in state elections. Well, the leftists who wanted 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in the first place, now they're doing a 180. Now they want to reverse it, and they're sounding the alarm saying that it helps the AFD, because they're finding out that the AFD is the first place party among high school students across the country. The other big story here is Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht, or the Alliance of Sarah Wagenknecht. I made a video about her years ago. I think it was the early days of this channel. I forget which year exactly. But she was the leader of a faction of Die Linke that was called Aufstehen, or Stand Up. Die Linke means the left. It is the new name of the former East German Communist Party, SED. Now, Aufstehen called for stricter immigration controls, among other things. Essentially, her faction was a little bit closer to socialists in countries like, say, Bulgaria and Romania, where they actually care about socialism, whereas in Germany and Scandinavia, you've got the socialists basically don't even care about economics anymore. It's all about woke ideologies. Now, we've seen a shift in Denmark already, where Mette Frederiksen gained power by rebranding the Social Democrats as basically pivoting back to old school Social Democrats and saying she was going to get tough on immigration. And the mainstream media hyped her very hard as being anti-immigration. She's not nearly as anti-immigration as the media made her out to be. And the same thing is true with Sarah Wagenknecht. So she has split from Die Linke and founded her own vanity party. She's taken most of their members with her. She's also pulled people from the Greens and the Social Democrats. However, when the party was first launched earlier this year, she did pull support from the AFD in Thuringia and Mecklenburg. You could see it in the polls. And this was because the media was hyping her very hard as being anti-immigration. She's not nearly as anti-immigration as the media made her out to be, but you even had people in the media talking about, oh, well, she might pull voters from the AFD now, since she's also anti-immigration. And it seemed like it had worked. In Thuringia, the AFD had been polling 35% in several polls earlier in the year, and then the Sarah Wagenknecht Vanity Party was launched, and they went from 35 to 30, and they stayed at 30. There was one poll on the eve of the election that had them at 32, and then they ended up getting 32.8. And Sarah Wagenknecht's party underperformed by several points compared to the polls. Now, there's this whole big controversy. A deal is already on the table for the CDU to cooperate with Wagenknecht. Now, keep in mind that for years the CDU would justify not cooperating with the AFD by saying, oh, well, we don't work with the extremes, so no AFD, no Die Linke. Well, Sarah Wagenknecht, her party is basically Die Linke 20 years ago. So she made this splinter group because Die Linke was supposed to be an anti-establishment, anti-war left-wing party, and they were cucking hard on their core values and just becoming part of the establishment uniparty. And basically the CDU already cooperated with Die Linke in 2020, and now if they want to continue that, they're basically going to be cooperating with an even more hardcore version of Die Linke. So the deal that's on the table right now is that the CDU will let Wagenknecht make a woman named Katja Wolf minister president of Thuringia, and then her party will vote for a CDU minister president of Saxony. Now, this essentially, it's going to be a huge cucking by both of these parties for them to work together. And I've been following Sarah Wagenknecht on Twitter, and I've watched this play out. And so AFD supporters have been on her Twitter comments calling her out and saying that, you know, she's betraying all this hardcore anti-war stuff she talks about by wanting the coalition with the CDU, and if you vote for her, you're just voting for a cuck. And apparently this Katja Wolf, when she was younger, was an actual member of Antifa. Well, it looks like some of the people who had switched from AFD to Wagenknecht in the polls, well, when it came time to cast their vote, some of those people appear to have switched back to the AFD because the AFD overperformed and BSW underperformed in Thuringia. The situation in Saxony is that the CDU got 31.9% and the AFD got 30.7%. Now, the way these elections work is you vote for a party and you vote for a candidate. It's fairly complicated, and my understanding is the results of the election can actually change the actual number of seats in each state parliament from year to year. Sometimes the number changes. And the percentages right now, it's just preliminary. It's not completely certified yet. And different media outlets are giving slightly different seat totals. Now, in Thuringia, two parties that did have seats have been wiped out. The Free Democrats and the Greens. They both did absolutely terrible. The Greens got 3.2% and lost all their seats. The FDP got 1.1%, almost nothing. Saxony, there's some weird things going on. So the Greens, in the preliminary results, they got 5.1%. And so if they come down a little bit in the final results, they could end up losing their seats. But then Die Linke got 4.5%, but there's this rule where if at least 3 of your candidates are among the candidates that get the most votes, then you can still get proportional representation. So the media is saying they're going to get 6 seats. Then there's the Free Wahlen Party, the Free Voters. It's a minor party, somewhat conservative, but they only got 2.3%. But one of their candidates was a top vote-getting candidate, and so he's going to be elected to the state parliament, even though they don't get proportional representation. So that's some weird caveats about the election in Saxony. So right now the media is just melting down with vitriol, hatred, libel. They're saying this is the worst thing since World War II. Apparently Antifa was rioting in Dresden after the election. So I'll have a lot more to say about this as we watch the fallout and see how the coalitions are actually formed. All right, thanks for watching this video. Click the like button, post a comment below, and tell me what you think about all this. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.